sugar babes? It's your girl Faye, owner of Lemonade No Sugar. Thank you for tuning in today's video. If it's your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to tap in today's video. If it's not your first time here and you are officially our skincare bestie, meaning our best friend, girl, it's been some time since Thanksgiving episode, okay? And I'm glad that you decided to take some time out your day to talk with me. Before we get into today's video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave your thoughts, opinions in the description below. Let's get into today's video. So if you read it, this topic is a little sensitive to me or just anyone. Like when you're talking about grief and losing someone that you love, it can honestly just be a hard thing to address or come to terms with. And if you guys see this little book in my hand, it's because I always write down what I'm gonna say or just little points, and so I can make sure I'm getting my point across. So if you see me looking down reading, it's because I'm just trying to make sure that I'm giving you all the support that you need in your chapter of grief. So the title is Getting Over Grief, but I truly wanted to name this, is there a such thing as getting over grief? Because in truth be told, it's no such thing as getting over grief. Like, grief is an ongoing journey. Like, it could be 10 years from now or a year from now, and you still may feel like it just happened yesterday. And I first want to say, if you have lost someone, I'm sorry for your loss, and I pray that you get the healing that you need, not only in today's video, but tomorrow and the days to come, because it's a lot. Like, I have been in your shoes, still in your shoes, of grieving someone that you lost. Like, if you went back to my previous videos, you'll see me talk about my pawpaw, my grandma, my bonus mom, which is my stepmom. You'll see me talk about them throughout my life, because those three people just left a mark on me. And not even just left a mark, it's just like, I love them. And I think when you love someone, the hardest thing really is to say goodbye to them, because it's like, you don't want to say goodbye, and you're like, dang, is it selfish that I don't want to say goodbye? But you literally have to remind yourself that it's okay. I want you to first think of the first thing you should do right now in this moment is acknowledge that you are not okay, and coming into terms that you're not okay. Like, for me, it takes a lot for me to own up that I'm not okay. I think maybe is it just being a black woman and just being programmed to just kind of not sweep it under the rug, but to be strong. And maybe because I have always been that strong friend to people, that my form of weakness is just showing that I am weak, and I think that's just what makes us human, is just realizing that not every day is going to be okay, but that makes it okay. Like, if you're on your steps of healing and trying to move forward, I think the best thing that I was learning in my counseling sessions was, I remember telling a counselor, I just really want to get out of grief. I just feel like I'm so depressed, and I can't get out of it. It's like I'm stuck in a hole, and no matter how far I try to climb out of the hole, I just keep on hitting the ground. And I remember the counselor telling me, and if I get a little emotional, y'all, you girl, just bear with me, because It's just I'm being vulnerable with you. So to get back on topic, because I feel myself tearing up just talking about it. But I remember the counselor telling me, like, sweetheart, you know, grief is not something you just get out of, because you always go through that emotion. You'll always go through thinking about that person, or you may come across a photo and there they are. But what you have to do is learn how to not be in sorrow, not how to be so sad, or not how to feel so hurt, but know that those emotions that you're feeling come with grief. There's stages of grief, and there's 7 stages of that. And then he gave me some tools that I'm going to share with you. He told me find things that I naturally love, to not use that as a distraction, but to make me happy. And the second thing he said was, when you feel emotional and you want to cry, scream, you know, whatever the emotional is, let it out, because that is a self-healing expression that you are needing in order to release hormones that are coming with grief, because our emotions are a hormone. And finding a safe space to talk about it, if you're ready to talk about it, because a lot of times in life we're just not ready to talk about it, and that's just perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It don't matter if it happened last month, a year from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now. It don't matter. If you're not ready to talk about it, you have not stepped over that healing point of trying to talk about it and being ready to talk about it, because it's a lot. Like, I believe when my grandma passed away, I was telling myself, like, if I just don't think she's gone, then I won't cry about it so much. But realizing that statement in itself is the stage of grief. I am in a denial stage, you know, that I don't want to accept that she's gone. But I have to realize that God sent her to heaven, and that's okay, because God has written our stories, whether we like it or not. God has ordained our purpose, and with that, He knows every hair on our head, every nail, every flaw, every blemish on us. He has written our story from when, not even when we were in the womb, but when our spirit was created. And then when we were in the womb, and the stages of life that we entered, from baby to toddler to preteen to teenager to a young adult to an adult. And He written all of that. He written when we'll get married, when we'll have a family, who we will love and who we will be engaged to, and who we'll grow old with, or if we grow old, and what we were meant to do and be for as a vessel here on earth, whether we like it or not. And that's not a bad thing. That's the reality, that God is an essence. He's a mighty God. He's everything. And it took me like reading a chapter in my Bible app about living through a life of a lost loved one, if I'm saying it right. I'm gonna have to go back and read exactly what the title was called, but it had to do with living and losing a loved one. And it was a chapter in it that talked about coming to terms with that God is in control and we are not in control. And that's in our human nature to think that we have all this time in life to get it right. But in essence, God knows our timing and when our chapter is going to, kind of end, or not really end, but just begin. Because I believe even when we transition to heaven, that our spirit lives on forever in earth. So just coming to an understanding that, that doesn't mean, oh, I got to rush and do everything, but that does mean to be thoughtful and appreciate the time that you do have with your loved ones that you're surrounded with and the people that you're with, because it kind of gives you a little more push to say, okay, let me be more motivated to get it right. And what God does is give us grace when we haven't figured it out. So it's like take it as like, okay, God's still giving me time to figure it out. I'm still here on earth. That means God is still writing my chapter. And with our loved ones that has passed, he has said, all right, I am done writing their chapter here on earth, but their chapter far as heaven is still going to forever live on. And now that person that is in heaven, they are having the everlasting peace that we're searching here for on earth. So just think about that. And I also want to point out another thing. When I was reading the Bible out and about grief, it was telling me that God doesn't want us to be in pain or sorrow. In Psalms 34:18, it said, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirit are crushed. So when you're thinking about this loved one that you have lost, know that God is right there. He's literally right there in the midst of it. You may not see him, but tap into your inner being. His spirit is right there. And even if you can say, dang, I wish I felt his presence. I wish I felt his anointings right now. I feel so weak. He's right there whispering in your ear. He's right there fixing it. And because, like, if I had to be honest with you, like, earlier this week, I was just really going through it emotionally. Like, I was just thinking about my grandma, and I just was like, okay, work was a lot, and I don't have nobody to talk to just let this all out. At least I feel like my grandma was my go-to person, where if I was wanting to talk about something, I knew she would sit there on the phone and listen and say something to make me laugh. And I'm like, dang, I don't have that no more. And so it's like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm like to give me a hot bath. I got me a hot bath. I played me some relaxing music. The music I like is like spa music, just so my thoughts can kind of get at a resting point. And because I believe like sometimes when you're listening to like R&B and just music with a whole lot of words, it kind of blocks you from thinking about what you need right now in this moment. And so I was doing all of that. Next thing I know, I just started crying and just saying, God, I surrender to you. God, I surrender to your will. These emotions I feel is bigger than me. I cannot carry this. Help me, God. Next thing I know, just tears were just started coming down off my eyes, and I had to tell myself, like, self, your house is your safe space. Come on, come down from work, girl. Come down from work for a little bit. You're not at work. You're at home. Leave work at work. You're at home. This is your safe place, Faith. This is your safe place, Faith, because that's my name is Faith. So I kept saying those things to me, and the more I kept speaking to my spirit, the more the tears ran. And you may say, well, those tears are sorrow. Yes, they're sorrow, but that's a form of releasing that pain that I felt from losing my grandma. And I want you to come to terms, even wherever you are in your grieving journey, to let it out you can be in the midst of talking to somebody and it could just boom hit you like a ton of bricks, like bam, and you let it out in front of that person. What they gonna do? They either gonna hug you or they just gonna be a vessel and listen to you, because God may have sent this person to you for some extra support that he knew that you was gonna need on that particular day. And don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad for letting it out, because I want you to remember that even if you are a caregiver or someone is depending on you, you still have to heal yourself. Healing is needed for you in order for you to be your best self, in order for you to feel what you need to feel. Because I used to feel so bad, like when it came to my dad and helping out with my baby sister, I used to feel so bad for just taking time out to myself, because I'm like, dang, I don't want to leave my baby sister. I love her so much. Let me be that. But in that sense, I wasn't my best self. How can I take care of someone else properly if I'm not my best self? And the same thing when it comes to, okay, my dad, he's going so he can have his moment of peace, but that's dismissing the peace that I need, because if we are both in two different points of time in life, that yes, he may need his peace and I need my peace, but we somehow got to meet in the middle in the form of peace, so that way we both can be a vessel to this small being that depends on both of us. So I started telling myself, like, hey, if I need my week off, I need this week off, and not feeling bad for it, because how can I be my best self for my sister and give her that support, that love, that attention that she's going to naturally want, because that's what she wants. She's a baby. That's what babies want. They want to be loved. So how can I do that if I'm not in my best self mentally, emotionally, or physically? Because I believe they feel that. Babies feel that. People feel that. People feel that if they really know you, they know if your spirit off. So, and sometimes when we're not in our right spirit ourselves, we can lash out that to people. Like, they may say one word that we didn't really receive it that way, but since we felt it that way, now we lashing out to them. It's just a form of being hurt by something else, but you lashing out to the thing that's closest to you. It don't make it right, it don't make it wrong, but it make it where, okay, you got to bring some attention and to your inner self and say, okay, I need to take out some time to myself, so that way I can be the best version of me. Because like I said in the beginning, God doesn't want you to be in pain. He does not want you to be in sorrow. It's different chapters in the Bible that talks about the love that God wants you to experience, the support that God wants you to experience. So remember that when you're on your form and chapters of grief, that it's okay to cry. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be ready to talk about it. It's okay if you still cry about it. It's okay, because guess what? My papa been gone since a year, and a year passed, and I still cry. It still hit me like it just happened, like it just happened yesterday. My grandma, she's been gone 2 months. I still have moments I cry about her. My bonus mom, it makes a year of her passing to this month, and when I think about her, I still cry. Because guess what? That person I loved passed away, and that the reason why I cry is because I love them that much. And that's what you got to say to yourself when you're crying, when you're not in your best self. I'm crying or I'm feeling this emotion because I love them. And that's all right. That's all right. But what's not all right is allowing yourself to stay in a depressing state, in a sad state. It's not okay, because the rain does not rain all day. The sun will shine. The sun will be bright. The the rainbow will come through those clouds, and you're going to see it's going to be a bright day. And I hope you receive some of the pointers that's coming across from me to you, that it's okay to feel how you're feeling. Don't neglect your feelings. Take a moment, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes for yourself. And even if you say, well, I'm the person that the person is depending on, how can I, and it's just me, how can I do it? How can I do it? Well, guess that's mean you have to learn how to carve out that time. Maybe you ask a close friend that you trust to watch the baby, or watch the toddler, or watch whoever you're taking care of. Like, hey, because guess what? If they're your friend, if they're your support system, they'll do it for you. Because roles have a way of turning around. They'll experience the same thing you experience. And I'm just saying that. So when you need that extra help, you don't be afraid to ask for it, because the people that are there for you will do it, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a mentor, whoever it is. You got to lean on them, because God never ordained it for us to be alone on earth or through life and journey. He said 2 is better than 1. So remember that when you need that extra support. When somebody cross your mind, send them that text message, send them that call, because you don't know where they are in their own journey to life. Because regardless of grief, life has a way of throwing a ton of bricks at you. And you need to be reminded out here that it's people that still care about you. So I'm letting you know you're never alone, because I feel how you feel. It's a different form of grief, because my grief is through a different people. Where your grief might be your husband, it may be your child, it may be it may be a close friend. But knowing that not all griefs are the same, and respecting that not all griefs are the same. And I also want to point out some ways that you can form healing practices, whether it's meditation, working out, doing a hobby you love. If you don't know about a hobby that you love, that's something you gotta work on. Okay, I gotta carve out some time to figure out what I like, so that way you can learn to put smiles on your face and enjoy the precious time that you do have on earth, and realizing you can be unconsciously holding on that weight on your body. I think I didn't even realize how much weight I was carrying on my own body until I got a massage, and then I just started like crying through my massage. And I wasn't like crying like the whole through the massage, but she was touching points of my body that had the most tension. And I wasn't in pain when she released those areas that had the most tension. I felt at ease, like I felt like a burden had been lifted off of me. So I was crying because I felt release of pressure. And that's a spiritual awakening, when you're allowing yourself to be at its most vulnerable point, where all you can do is just relax, release, let go. Because before you can get to your full point in potential, you got to let go of the past. And the past doesn't mean that you're letting go of, I'm letting go that person passed away. No, you're letting go of the sorrow, that depression that's keeping you chained and captive from moving to what God has already ordained for you, sweetheart. So do that. And I also want to point out the 7 stages of grief, because that may help you identify where you are at. That doesn't mean that you won't skip out through life and be like at different stage, or go back to stage 1. It's just letting you know that you may be on this stage, and come to terms like, okay, now let me first be real with myself and say, okay, self, I'm at this stage. You know, I'm not okay. And now I'm ready to heal. So the 7 stages is being shocked, which I like shocked to say sadness, because I feel like shock and sadness are the same thing. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, acceptance. So I feel like sadness and depression are 2 different things. You can't be sad and depressed. So you can be sad about something that doesn't make you depressed, and you can be depressed about something that doesn't mean you at the most saddest point. Like depression is like it's a different version of sadness, if I had to say. So if you're at a depression state, well, now you have to kind of push yourself to say and do things that you don't feel like doing, because you just your spirit in a funk. So in order to get out of that funk, your prayer should be, God, give me the courage, give me the strength to move out of this depression. So that way he can give you those 2 things that you're asking for, whether it's through people, through places, or through activity. You may be in a denial state, like I was saying to myself with my grandma. I'm in a denial. I don't want to accept it. No, ma'am. And that's okay if you're at a denial state, because that's a form of grief. And in order to get out of that, my prayer has been, God, I surrender. I surrender, because I can't handle it no more. Therefore, I surrender. And with that, it brings me closer to Him, so that way I can get closer to my full potential. Maybe you're at an acceptance spot. You're like, I didn't accept it. They didn't pass away. You know, I know that's how life goes, and that's wonderful. That is great if you're there. That doesn't mean that you can't go back to any of those other stages, because you may see a picture, a song, or something that makes you think of them. And that's okay, because know that you're feeling that way because you love that person. And your feelings are valued. And when you need to talk about it, or when you want to let it out in any form of expression or activity, do that, because you need to do that in order to get through your healing process. In order to get to healing, you have to first come to terms that you need that. 2, find a support system. If you lack a support system, then your prayer should be, God, send people in my way that mean me good and that can help me through this journey that I'm lacking, in your name. That way He can send people your way, whether it may be a coworker, it may be a family member, it may be a long-time friend you went to school with. And make yourself friendly, so you can have those friends and have those relationships and have those safe spaces. And then as you go through that support system, realizing that even if you have to go back to being like you throwed off in the spirit, realizing that it's okay, because that's a form of life. That's the form of grieving that person. That's a form of losing someone you care about. Is that you come to a point in life where you're learning to not necessarily live with it, but you're learning to appreciate life, appreciate the people that you have, appreciate the moments that you're creating. So when it's your time to transition on, your spirit, it has been marked by someone else and lives on. I believe we transition to beings and pieces, like flowers and butterflies, and like, I guess you can say reincarnation. That's what I believe, That doesn't mean that you believe that, but whatever your belief is, and getting more in tune with your spirituality will help you and guide you along your way of healing through grief, coming to the acceptance point, and realizing even if you go backwards, you now have the tools to move forward. And trust your process. Don't rush your process. It's not overnight thing. It's not even years to years things. It just takes time. And the only person that knows that time is you and God, or you and whoever you worship and whoever you may believe. So give yourself grace. Give yourself grace on this spirituality healing journey, because it takes a lot of being in tune with yourself to know exactly what you need. But even if you don't know what you need, that means you got to take a little bit more time out to figure it out, and that's okay. I hope you received today's message. The main thing I want you to leave with is knowing it's okay to feel how you feel. Give yourself grace if you're still feeling trapped and in a hole and you can't get out. But push yourself to get out and smell the roses sometime, because the roses, they're right in front of you. They're just waiting for you to wipe your eyes, girl, or guy, if you're watching me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Put down in the comments how you feel. What did you receive from today's video? And I can't wait to see you next time.